Thank you, Alan, and appreciate that comment, and that it truly is through technology and innovation that we will find and improve efficiency in the healthcare system. I also want to thank the organizers who allowed me to come and speak to you today, and you, the audience, especially for acknowledging Ronnie as having the lowest handicap. That'll ensure we get lots of strokes in future play.
No chance.
No chance? Yeah, I figured. You know, what I wanted to cover off today is around orphan drugs and how they truly affect patients' lives. We talk a lot about this industry and some of the things that have come up in the media of late, but this industry has the potential and does do a tremendous amount of good, and we should never forget that. And to Ed's presentation, it's up to us to talk about how we can improve our reputation and create and talk about the value that we bring to people and to patients. And what I'd like to focus on today is around orphan drugs. And if I can just move to that first slide. There we go. A little bit about Alexion. Our mission is treating patients with severe and devastating diseases. We believe that this is an area where there is certainly untapped and potential to make a profound difference in patients' lives. And the reality for patients with rare diseases is that the journey to reach a diagnosis is often long and very complicated. And for many of these diseases, there simply is no treatment available. Patients who are fortunate enough to have a treatable rare disease often can wait years, not only for a diagnosis, but then for access to treatment. And these are things that, I've often said, we need to put patients at the center of the solution as opposed to the middle of the problem. And you've probably seen a number of patients who've had to go to the media to get their case heard, to get noticed. And when you have a rare disease and there's only a few dozen patients perhaps in the country, it's amazing what we expect of patients with rare disease. We expect them not only to battle the daily challenges of their disease, but also to fight on the forefront of gaining access for whether it be their daughter, their husband, their mother. And what you have to ask yourself, and the question you have to ask is, why is it that patients with rare disease have to go to such Herculean efforts to make a difference and to get access to therapies? And that's just something that's not right. They should be afforded the same access to health care and to resources as any other patient. We are making great strides in this regard, and I'd encourage you all to visit the Canadian Organization for Rare Disorders website, where they've laid out a strategy and a plan for bringing rare disease to Canadians, and a strategy to Canadians that not only will help in terms of research and development, but will ensure these patients get access to therapies that will make a difference in their lives. I have the privilege of sitting on the Biotech Canada Orphan Drug Working Group, and that working group has also put together an incredible white paper which really lays out the strategy and the solutions. We have to be an organization and an association that brings forward solutions to the challenges that we face, whether it be access or research. And too often we're up here complaining about government and other stakeholders, but at the end of the day, it's really up to us, as Ed and Ronnie have said, to be leaders and make sure that what we do as an industry can have an impact for patients and for years to come. I'd like to turn my attention to a specific area in a disease that we've been involved with over the last few years, and that is a disease called hypophosphatasia. And essentially, this is a disease that it focuses on you lack an enzyme that mineralizes your bones, and essentially patients just don't have any bones, or they have what's called soft bones. and it can lead to all sorts of devastating consequences. Infants within a year, the mortality rate is about 80%. They have seizures. They need to be on respirators. And the reality is that it's a devastating disease. Interestingly, a disease that, speaking to Ronnie's point, Canadian researchers were first to describe this disease. And also, Canadian researchers were first to discover and develop the product that is to treat this disease. Aspartame alpha is that product. And as you can see from this diagram, in the first picture at baseline, there's essentially no bones in this infant's hands. But even with just 6 months of treatment, what you see is a fully developed skeletal system. So as an industry, we have a profound impact and ability to change patients' lives. This is one of the first patients that was ever treated with aspartame alpha, a baby from Ireland that was actually flown over to a center of expertise here in Canada, in Manitoba. And this baby is actually on a respirator because she doesn't have a developed rib cage and she needs assistance in breathing. And these are the types of individuals that we touch and the families that we touch to make a difference in people's lives. Some additional patients that have really benefited. When I first started in this industry, to be able to say that we could help patients walk, we could help them rise out of wheelchairs, that's what being in this industry is all about. And that's the value message that we need to do a better job of communicating. This young boy went from a very short period of time, not even being able to walk, to 18 months later. You can see him, you can't even keep track or hold him down because he's running and off to the races. And that's what our industry offers. It offers hope. It offers the opportunity to make a difference in patients' lives. And we should never forget that. But me being up here and speaking about this, I think it's much more effective to hear from patients in a family that has been touched by what we do. And I'd like to, if I can, show that video now.
We had never heard of hypophosphatemia, and then Evie was born. When I was 12 weeks pregnant with Evie, we went in to the doctor for just a routine 12-week ultrasound, and they took a lot longer than usual. I called John and said, something's wrong. And the doctor said, well, we can't find her hands, her feet, or her nasal bone. So it looks like one of these rare things. It's probably a genetic disorder. We don't know which one. At 20 weeks gestation, we went in, and they had given us the diagnosis of type 2 osteogenesis imperfecta. They actually called me over the phone, and they had heard back from the International Skeletal Disability Registry and said, we're sorry, she has type 2 OI. This is a lethal diagnosis. She will probably, if she survives delivery, she'll have a few minutes to a few hours to spend with you. So that was hard. We obviously wanted a lifetime with her. And so, So we finished out our pregnancy and prayed for her a lot and went with it and got ready to meet her. We were excited to meet her for however long we had with her. And that was it. And at 2 weeks of age, she started having seizures, so we took her to the hospital. She had a routine blood draw, and the doctor noticed that her alkaline phosphatase level was low. So that was how he diagnosed her with hypophosphatemia. It was hard. It was disheartening. She had, according to them, a 50% chance of making it to 18 months. Hypophosphatemia is a rare genetic bone disease where the person does not process phosphorus the way that they're supposed to, and so Evie doesn't make new bone, nor can the bone she has mineralize because she lacks a component necessary to make new bone.
Not only does hypophosphatemia affect her bones, but also affects her whole body with the seizure activity, with respiratory distress issues that she's had and she's been hospitalized with.
Since Evie was on oxygen for so long, she skipped a lot of the babbling and the early sounds that little kids make when they're little. So we sign our colors, we sign our shapes, we sign if she wants to eat, if she wants to drink, just so it's easier for us to communicate with her.
Our geneticist told us that there was an experimental drug that's available.
We got the literature for the clinical trial that same week that Evie was diagnosed when she was 2 weeks of age. So we had a packet of literature on hypophosphatasia and a packet of literature on the clinical trial. It was kind of a no-brainer for us, and since she was already having some respiratory compromise and she wasn't growing very much, we decided it was definitely the right thing to do.
Now that it's her turn to go to preschool, she loves it. She gets on her walker and loves walking to class and just interacting with other kids. And she's so easygoing that any kid could be her friend. And she loves her teachers, and she just has the best time there.
Evie is our social little butterfly. When we go to the gym, when we go anywhere, everyone knows who Evie is because she walks in with her walker, she makes friends, she loves to play with other kids. It's been really exciting for her. We were actually out at a restaurant not too long ago, and a little girl said, "Well, that's Evie, my friend from the gym," which was pretty cute. So, yeah, she makes friends wherever she goes, that's for sure. She's a little magnet for other kids.
And here's a picture of Evie today. Notice no leg braces, no walker. That's the power we have in this industry to make a difference in patients' lives. And I'll end with this one last comment that a patient told me, a PNH patient who was treated with Solaris. And he told me, "I want to thank you because you've given me a second chance at life." And you know, to be able to stand up here and to say our industry can give patients a second chance at life is truly a special profession to be a part of. And I think that that's what sums it all up in terms of what we're able to offer. And so I think as my panel members speak to, we have such a tremendous amount to be proud of in this industry, and we just need to communicate it better in what we're able to achieve with it. So with that, I'll end my talk and turn it back over to Joe.